Hello, we are very happy to see so many of you, and we are also very happy to officially announce the first ever, as we have found, Road Safety Hackathon in the Baltic states. With over 60 lethal accidents per million people, Latvia has one of the highest road fatality rates in the European Union, surpassed only by Romania and Bulgaria. In order to highlight this problem and try to find solutions, we are starting this 24-hour road safety hackathon challenge. And today we have the first warm-up event called Academic Breakfast in collaboration with Road Traffic Safety Directorate and Central Statistical Bureau of Latvia, as well as with CI Ignitis Latvia support. We will quickly show you how the website looks and what is the registration form, and after that we will continue with the academic breakfast. Also, please mute your microphones if you are not speaking, so we do not overhear your private conversations. I will share the screen now, how you can register for the hackathon, and then we will continue with the academic breakfast. So our address is roadhack.24.com. To register, you just have to click registration button. As you see, there are prizes for the winner, and the event will happen in a very scenic location, Riga Motor Museum, where you also can see a lot of, there is actually an exhibition on history of safety measures on roads, so it could serve as a good inspiration. So who can participate? Students, professionals, NGOs, also companies who are interested to develop such solutions. And then the event itself, so the main event will take place from November 15 to 17 in Riga. And in the 3 weeks leading up to the event, we have these warm-up events where we talk about data, because we really want the solutions that we create are based on data, and also that they are somewhat original, innovative, and new. The schedule itself, so today we will talk about traffic safety in data, myth and truth. After that, on 4th of November, we will have a workshop on academic breakfast. Why do heavy road accidents happen? And following quite close to that, we will have a final overview of the hackathon and question and answer session. Starting the hackathon the first day, we will have arrivals, opening the event, and the hackathon itself starts at 7:30. And after 24 hours, it ends. Then you can have time to go home and sleep, or prepare your presentation. And on the final day, we all meet and talk and also present our ideas. And the jury and mentors will award and consult you. So we just launched the registration. There will be more mentors coming up. And of course, the prize pool also might even get bigger, because we have some sponsors who are interested to give special prizes. So this is the start, but we aim for bigger. And the evaluation criteria will be innovation, progress during the hackathon, feasibility of your idea. And I would say the fourth is the most important criteria, so potential to reduce lethal and serious accidents, as well as scalability and sustainability factors. And the registration form is very easy. It's your name, phone number, email, your background, so we can match you with better teams, student status, place of study if it's applicable, and you can add also comments and questions. So you can join as a team or individually if you want to find team members on site. That is always possible. With that being said, with a great pleasure, I forward now the microphone to moderator for today's discussion about traffic myths and truth, Aldis Erglis, who is data researcher at University of Latvia. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Matthijs. It's a really great event, and happy to see all you there. So some introductory technical details about this event. So as you see, we are recording this event, and it's also streamed or on our Facebook channel, Road Safety Hackathon. And please stay muted during this event, this call. So, and if you have any comments and questions, especially some ideas of road safety cases and problems, please put them in the chat. Today we talk about myths in this area, so put everything in chat, and we will try to answer them and handle during this call. And if something will take more time, so we will answer them later and include in our FAQ section in the hackathon webpage www.roadhack24.com, as Matthijs also said. And yeah, please prepare all the ideas that can help for the hackathon. And now, before we really begin our discussion, and because this call will be in a format of discussion, so we will between our experts and guests we will discuss this myth and how the data could be used to break this myth down. So before that, I want to give a word of our host and Raimond Slapinch, Director General of the Central Statistical Bureau of Latvia. So please, Raimond.
Good morning. As quite a lot of myth which we had in history, and we can debunk all them or get to the truth through the data. It's a lot of myths of creation, myths of various coming people. A lot of things have been, and we believe in this. What today's biggest target for us is actually safety on the road. But we would like to get away from our personal experiences, from our emotions, and to get from the data actual reasons why accidents are happening, why, and as a result, we can get some solutions to increase safety on the road. Just with data, we do understand it is impossible. We need brains, people, heads, people who are capable to understand what this means. So we are very happy and thanks everybody that we can bring around the table, around the screens, people who do understand what is going on. It is police, CSDD. I will not try to translate this in my head now, and but especially researchers from different fields who are specializing in both in data and in social construction of society. So even with these people is not enough, and data we need new and ambitious and somebody who and people who want to find new ways, new solutions. So that's why third parties so important, hackathon partners who are bringing on the table ideas and then testing them. So and we believe that this three-party joining all these three parties, innovators, academics, and professionals, and data, we can get to the best possible solutions in this stage. So with these words, I'm participating too in this event, and I will be very glad to add my part in debunking all the myths and getting to the truth. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Raimond. It's really great that you like helping and driving this event, and I want to say thank you to Central Statistical Bureau of Latvia, because you are one of the organizations who are really active in these data hackathons. Almost every year there's data hackathon from CSP. So thanks so much. So you're great, doing really great job. Yeah, and let's go really directly into our discussions. So we are ready for that. Please, if you have any ideas, myths, or examples which you believe they should be explained somehow, please post them in chat so we could discuss them. So all the use cases and problems you see around the road safety, so that we could discuss them. And before we going into discussion, I want to show that some maybe visualizations, because I very deeply believe in data visualization. So that is a way how we could explain data. Not always, but many times data could be easier, understandable, and explainable if we see it visually. And there are many visual ways how to present them. And I want to show you a couple of them. So here you can see that this is a actual data of road accidents, and that is how we see it. Yeah, if we see that if every row is an accident, as here you can see that when it happened, who involved, address, etc. So it's a usual data of road accidents you will get if you get to the road data, and you could have thousands of rows, tens of thousands of rows. And the question how to get like some insights out of this data. Of course, you could use different data analysis techniques, but maybe the easiest way is just to find some innovative visualization technique. And that is, I want to show you one of them, like presenting this data as a heat map. So actually, you can present all this data as a heat map by dividing on which weekday it's happened, how many these accidents are happening, and on which time. Even you could divide by seasons, so you could see that when in spring there's more accidents, or in fall. And on this visualization, it's very easy to answer some questions like you can see that red means that there is a lot of accidents, and the dark green means that there is not much accidents. So immediately we could say that Friday is a day when the accidents are happening. Maybe it's because we are preparing for the weekend, and we could also immediately see the time. So it's morning hours and maybe some late hours that we are going to work and going back. So we see this section in morning hours, and especially Fridays, responsible for more accidents. So we could get some additional context, and then go over some seasons and see how it changes. For example, in summer, it's not Friday anymore, the number one, it's Wednesday. So be creative and find a good visualizations that could help you better understand your data. So, and now I want to start our discussion and give a word to one of our experts. It's Juris Kreitzbergs, head of statistical data processing at CSDD, and docent in the Riga Technical University. So please, Juris.
Hello, everyone. So the topic is quite wide, and definitely it's not possible, or there's no intention to cover it all, but just like some kind of main buzzwords to start with will be discussed here in the short presentation. When we're looking at policies, definitely for Latvia, we have to start with our traffic safety plan, which is published in Latvian and by the Ministry of Transport. And there's a lot of described there. But if we're looking more wide, what's happening in the world, then there are several concepts that currently have to be understood. I start here with Vision Zero concept. And if currently most of us know Vision Zero concept as a goal somewhere in 2050, that there maybe would not be fatalities on roads, but actually that's not the major part of Vision Zero policy. When it was developed in Sweden in mid-90s, the idea was that no one shall be killed or seriously injured within the road traffic system. So it's we want safety. That was what was said by Swedish people and Swedish Parliament in 1997. And then as later on, the safe system was developed by several countries, which taken the basic principles of Vision Zero, which were like, we don't have to blame the drivers, the pedestrians, or traffic users. We have to understand that humans, whoever they are, they make errors, and we have to make the traffic system in a way that's forgiving those errors. And we have to understand that humans are vulnerable, and we have to measure that vulnerability and what kind of vehicles, speeds, and road design we have to make in terms to stay alive and not having that many injuries on the roads. And it includes a shared responsibility between road users and the traffic system developers, which is, again, one of the main principles that was introduced. Later on, the safe system developed how it has to be done, somehow specified the action areas. And if we're looking further, then having the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, also the safe system, traffic safety has been linked to our more wide goals as society that wants to reach some sustainable environment. Starting with very basic traffic safety terms, for people who are not daily involved, it's worth to mention several of them. Like road traffic accident, if in Latvia it's defined in road traffic law, but again, it's not the same in all countries. Like the Latvian idea is that we also include the accidents that happen outside the road. And that also is shown in our statistics. Here on this chart on the left shows the recorded accidents.
Oh, Juris, I'm very sorry. You are not sharing anything, so
sorry.
Yeah. So please share your screen.
Okay.
Oh, now we see it. Thank you.
Okay, I started with road safety policies and Vision Zero and safe system, and I really hope that these presentations would be available for users later on, since I have some links to websites here also on the presentation. But speaking about traffic safety terms, so if we look, these yellow ones are the recorded accidents by insurance only. The green ones are traffic accidents without injuries, but they are recorded by police. And only these red ones here are involving injuries, again, recorded by police. If we are looking at European data, then only these red ones are reported to European care database. So it's again, some part of them, but most important ones, the traffic accidents having fatalities and injuries. If we're looking how many there are injuries and fatalities, then here in the middle, the blue ones is injuries only, the gray ones is seriously injured, and the red ones are unfortunately the fatalities. So what do we call fatalities? Up to some early 2000s, in Latvia, fatality was deceased on the spot or within 7 days from the traffic accident. Currently, the common definition, including Latvia, including European Union, is deceased within 30 days, either on spot or later, when the cause is connected to the traffic accident. The definition of seriously injured changed in Latvia in mid-2021. So if we're looking at statistics on serious accidents, we have to take into account that the definition has changed, and there's currently no precise recalculation model, so not that easy to speak about development in seriously injured. And the injured one is, again, according to major aggravating injury scale. So this is injuries are set by medical staff, not by police or other personnel, but by medical people. And those who have given assistance and have these injuries below level 3, they are recorded as injured only. And returning to road fatalities, the gray area here, or 88% in some last 10 years in Latvia, those unfortunately deceased are on the day of the road crash. Within 7 days, additional 9%, and the remaining days, up to 30 days, around 3%. Since there's a lot of data, I would not repeat what the data are, but I will somehow point to the main data sources I would suggest to look at. Definitely, I will start with the Road Traffic Safety Directorate, CSDD, and one thing has to be taken into account. The most recent data are on the Latvian webpage only. If we are looking at the English webpage, there is a little bit outdated data, but since we are rebuilding the data system. The European Union has, with every year, improving data system, and we definitely can compare ourselves looking at the European Commission data pages. While more historically, a lot of reliable data were found on European Transport Safety Council webpage, the private organization working with traffic safety for already long years and widely recognized around the world and especially in Europe. Ministry of Transport has several research articles published on their website. It's worth to check what has been done in Latvia. A European Road Safety Charter organization that takes together a lot of traffic safety information, and if we want to find it consolidated, it can be found here. International Transport Forum and International Transport Safety Data Analysis Group gives data about the wider group of countries, not only European countries, but a lot of countries around the world. Anyone who looks at what's happening in Latvia has to check the ESRO webpage, which is a recent project with participation of Latvia as well. So if we look what traffic participants think, and it's mostly web questionnaires, so we can find really fresh data here on the ESRA website and dashboard. Nordic countries are known for their best traffic safety records, and it's worth to check there or to start with a Nordic journal published by institutions, research institutions, Sweden, Norway, Finland, Iceland, and others are joining there. And they're really well data, and also links to the research institutions give good information on what's happening around. The Wyeth Institute is from Belgium. This webpage is United States, a lot of done there. If we look at university levels, the best known university around here in this region is the Lund University, working with traffic safety, and many good things occur there, but definitely one can look at all other universities as well. World Health Organization for years has provided with reliable data, not only on other health issues, but including traffic safety as well. If we are looking for maps, then definitely we can use both Latvian state roads, the insurance company LTAB, or the Association of Insurance Companies, have also very good chart on their website where one can find where the accidents happen. And the map of Ministry of Interior also spots most accidents and shows also the severity on Latvian roads. And finally, here from the links, it's several academic journals like the one published in Riga Technical University, some independent journals, and if we do have some subscription to sets of information like Web of Science, definitely we can find a lot of there as well. But If I started with fatalities and injured numbers, that shows the results. But mostly what we are interested in is why do these results happen? And in recent years, the system is not new, while many European countries have joined in a baseline and currently trendline project to compare and develop the key performance indicators or traffic safety indicators. And these are the first ones where many already European countries have collected the data and compared among themselves. And this is like what the researchers show, or the research show, which definitely affects the consequences of any road traffic accident, no matter what was the cause or how it was happening. So the use of helmets by power two-wheelers, and in Latvia, it looked like we are not the worst ones, although for cyclists, there was no one using less than us, 14%. Actually, it was about 20% in 2023. Use of seat belts, Latvia is not doing well. Use of child seats, again, we can do much better. We were the worst ones by using mobile phone while driving. This has improved since 2021, but again, it's still quite a lot. Latvians, unfortunately, like speeding, and when we look at rural roads, again, we had the worst results. Only below 30% were complying with the speed limits on Latvian rural roads by methodology that was used there. Driving under influence, somehow we were the best ones. Driving under influence is still a problem in Latvia. It's not decreasing. So while if comparing with other European countries, we had not the worst situation. Medical care arrival is important, and we were quite good there. Road infrastructure, unfortunately, as we know, we have not the best situation. And when it comes to vehicles, and the project looked at new cars only, then again, we are not the worst somewhere in the Europe. Since we were asked to, or the topic of the meeting is about safety myths, I would not somehow point on any of these myths currently. We can discuss them later. But the thing is that they are somehow also contradictory. They are not just in one way said. And then it's important, where do myths come from? And what I would like to emphasize that personal experience is not sufficient. Even if you are a professional driver, if we're looking at like cars, total per year cover more than 10 billion kilometers. And whatever we drive personally, we are very, very, very far from that. The question there is what is power two-wheelers on the chat, power two-wheelers, motorcycles, and mopeds. Finally, if you're looking at why do accidents happen, have a look at published on European website, the collision matrix, where do fatalities come from and against which transport means the collision was, because there's a different exposure or kilometers covered by different traffic means. And here we can see quite well, and this is total, and this is an urban environment, where do fatalities occur. And to conclude with is like the schematics, if someone develops something in traffic safety, it's good to look at the so-called pillars of safety, like safe road user behavior. This is mostly recognized by everyone. Safe roads, we wish to have them. Safe vehicles, the same. I'm not sure that we all of us would like to have safe speeds, which is somehow a little bit strange, but doesn't seem we like safety in that way. Post-crash care is something that we are looking to our medicals stuff, and road safety management is always has to be in good place. So And the roads there are like to have good safe system, there has to be institutional governance. The responsibility between road users and traffic system organizers have to be shared, and everyone has to support the safe road user behavior. That's a short version about key terms in traffic safety.
Yeah, thank you, Juris. Maybe some question as a part of discussion, let's say. What do you think, will the self-driving cars, which are promised by industry, but we don't see them yet, do you think they will positively influence safety on the roads, or we don't know yet how it will work out?
This is well-discussed question. Definitely a lot of hope for that, but the research doesn't show that that will solve all the problems, and especially in the transit period. But that's how life works. We have to develop in stages. So definitely developing the safer vehicles, including the automated functions or fully automated, is a good way to go to.
Okay. And more, yeah, and also from very good points. And if we look at these distractions and also helmets, there are possible solutions for that. For example, I know there is a computer vision on the roads that checking that visually by AI that helmets are on, and if not, they are signal can give a signal, or probably in cars, yeah, we could detect if the driver is distracted by something. So probably we will see in vehicles something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those of participants, for example, Michael, you're raising. I see your hand. Please write in chat. So we will follow the chat. So we will not unmute you. So yeah, thanks very much, and especially for the data sources Juris showed. So there are a lot of data sources. And let's start our discussion while people are writing in chat, and let's maybe look at one of these data sources, and let's discuss one of the myths. And first myth, Juris, I want to discuss with you. I'm sure it's clear for you, absolutely, but let's show how it works. One of the myths is that older people actually are more involved somehow in these car accidents. And let me share my screen on showing some data. And actually, I'm using data from the CSDD webpage. So the data source Juris already showed. I'm sharing my screen. Okay. Yeah, so on the CSDD webpage, you could find the latest data available about traffic safety, like traffic safety statistics. And you could find many data sources that could help you answer questions. And that is also, we could find and answer a question about let's say, older people more involved in accidents. So we could use a seriously injured category of road user and age by age, or there is another data set that also gives us fatalities by category road users and an age. And one thing before we discuss, I want to show you how the actual data look like. So you can see that actually it's already aggregated. Sometimes it's helpful, sometimes it's less helpful. So just and there is a visualization that already gives us a sum of clue. So thanks for that. Just make attention on the data when you're using data. So here you see the aggregated pivot table. So you can see that age categories here. You can see the age categories here. And also here is another dimension, which is the how long the driver has a driver license. You can see that.
All this,
yes.
Can I somehow, this is the old type of data on our webpage. I would somehow suggest not to go inside it. This will be changed quite fast. The updated data are on the Latvian page only.
Okay.
Have it in English later on, because this data, which the reason why we are not developing further this type of data, it's hard to process it. It's hard to use it by visualization, by databases or whatever. So we change the way we present the data, and that's on the Latvian webpage currently only, and that will be developed in the coming year.
Okay, thank you for that. I just wanted to show that there is like possible also process things like that. So I'm using usually Power BI desktop, because it's a free tool, so you could easily use it. And it's also, there's a tools that could help us actually load this data and transform, like unpivot this data, and like help us to transfer it in a way we could start analysis. But nevertheless, I splitted this in two categories, like by years having driver license and by incidents per 100,000 drivers. So you already can see that actually, if you look at the age, this is a false meat. Let's say that we see that over time, actually, the older people are less involved in accidents. So data is actually showing that they are like better drivers. And also we can see that that longer you have a driver license, that also the better you drive. And adding some more data, if you look at there are many sources you could find about this traffic data. So maybe here is like some charts based on the more data, and we see these U curves. So Juris could maybe describe it more, but I think it's classical. It should be like classical, a little bit U curve when you see the drivers and passengers involved. So we can, and here we have a per 100 million miles. So we can actually again see that the myth is false, that we see that the younger people actually more involved in accidents, and then becoming older, we actually driving more carefully, I can say, but maybe a little bit at the very, very old age, there is a comeback, but it's very, very small. Yeah, and which it's a little bit different when we look at the actual death. So if you look at the injuries, there is this almost U curve, but when we look at death, of course, it's more U curve, because it's and of course it will be also true when we will look at the severity and the consequences of these injuries. Of course, if you less come into accidents at the older age, but if you are in on this accident, then the consequences are much harder for you. Do you want to comment anything, Juris, on this?
Yeah, it's because it's per miles driven. We don't have that kind of data here in Latvia, because we can connect with miles driven by car, not by person. But definitely that's well known that the consequences of crash for older drivers are much bigger. While if we're looking at these graphs by age, I definitely encourage you to look at the Latvian webpage, where these data have been put there some half a year ago, probably the first time, not for a long, but it's quite well shown, both for different road users, both for the how serious the traffic accident is, for the fatalities or injured. So in several ways, the according to age, there's a quite good visualized graph available from the Latvian version of the webpage.
Yeah, thanks, Iris. And of course, as you mentioned it, so if we address the hackathon participants, or well, giving them some food for thoughts, looking on this age factor, let's say, of course, we need to think more about the older people is actually a very important group, because protecting them from getting into accidents, we are much like more protecting their lives, because it's more important on the older age that they are not that we are not getting into accidents. So that's the through additional maybe side effect from this analysis, that it's not just that older people are less and they are more accurate drivers, let's say, but also it's important to find the solutions how to prevent these accidents specifically on the older age, because of this harder consequences on this. Yeah, so that's one of the ways how to look at data. The other myth I want to discuss is that there probably there's people who are more like in developed countries and richer countries, they are better drivers, and there is a less accidents. And I tried to think how to get to this data, and I used gapminder.org. It's founded by Hans Rosling, actually the father of the open data. And so if you didn't use it previously, please try out. So it's very rich site with different data, and the famous Hans Rosling visualization, this Gapminder, when he put the different data in the a visualization, and showing how it changes over time. So here is the data about life expectancy in GDP per capita. But also we could find here, if you click on the axis, you could find a lot of different data, like social economic data. And let's see if we could find some core accidents. And we could see not really core accidents, but here we can find the core death per 100,000 inhabitants. So it's a little bit different statistics. So make sure if in a CZD page we are talking about 100 per accidents or injuries per 100,000 drivers, right, Yuris? Then here we are talking about 100,000 inhabitants. And if we look at this parameter, so let's run it. So what can we see here? And we can see that actually there is no actually correlation between the economic situation in the country or richness of the country and number of the deaths. So we can each bubble is a country, and the bubble size is a population in this country. So we can see that this is quite flat. So for example, in Singapore, there is like this parameter is of course like 10 times, more than 10 times smaller than the USA. Yeah, but there is no like very hard correlation. But let's find Latvia. So it's here. Look at Latvia, and let's draw this. So we can see that in the data period starting here from 2008. Of course, we have in CSDD data we have even latest years, but here it's up to 2008. So we can see from this chart that actually the car deaths are decreasing starting 98 to 28. So we are becoming richer, and also in same time this number of deaths are slightly, not so much, like from 15 to 8, so 0.2, but it's slightly decreasing. So, Juris, do you want to comment anything on this?
Actually, if we look at the GFP connection with traffic accidents, I've seen very different statistics, but as it is in research, and which is important for those who don't work with, is always worth to check how the measurements were done, what was taken into account, and quite a lot. So I really believe what you show is reliable data, while always whenever the data come, it's important to look how they were collected. And yeah, that's like we have a good point here in the chat. I'm not sure, but it seems like someone is against child seats in the cars, or I did not get it right. But if someone wants to, there are also in traffic safety, there are these theories against everything, like I mentioned, the safe system. And there's a book published by Australians, Safe System or Stalinist System. And if someone is greatly against it, there's also something to read, how to object against whatever have the researchers developed. So like in Latvia, there was, in last 5 years, there was one infant with below 1 year of age, and he was not in the child seat. And if we do care about this child as well, and there were no fatalities for infants within child seat, I guess it's also statistics. Thank you.
Yeah, and in the chat we also have this question: do more accidents happen in the dawn or down of the day? So in a time between daylight and poor dark. So we need to find data to look at this. But if we look on the data I showed, so this is some data from one of the US cities. So we could just check that we are talking about, I think, like if we talk about summer, let's take fall. So we talk about these hours probably, and you could see that it's not actually. This data is showing that more accidents are happening during the daylight. Let's take a winter, and we will see that, yeah, again in winter, of course, it's like again closer to the day and business day, and probably it's there on the edge of the when the daylight is turning down. But again, it seems that not really. Or maybe Juris, you could also comment on this.
Again, it's how we raise the question. What I would like to suggest that we raise the question in terms of what Vision Zero says. It's important how many fatalities, how many seriously injured there are. Number of accidents is not of that importance, because the higher there's a traffic volume, like in this 5 p.m., 6 p.m., the higher the probability of accidents to happen. But since the speeds go down due to congestions, they are less severe, and therefore, as a society, we can more tolerate those type of accidents. The same thing is more accidents is within cities rather than urban roads, but again, most fatalities are on urban roads. And if it comes to twilight or the dawn of the day, yes, there are accidents, but the majority is in good weather conditions, good sunlight, because then people drive faster. The majority of deceased and fatalities and drive faster, and consequences are much heavier, much serious when the speeds are up, when there's no ice on the roads. Like this year in Latvia in January, it was really snowy. We unfortunately had 4 fatalities on the roads, but that's the lowest number we have. So it occasionally, the worse the conditions, the more people care about driving, and the consequences are somehow slightly better.
Yeah, it's a very good point, and especially we could even see in these crash tests, you know, and when we see the crash tests on different speeds, we see that the higher speed is actually more fatal than on the lower speeds. It's maybe tolerable. Okay, let's go to the next myth, and next myth is that accidents are caused by inexperienced drivers who don't know how to drive. So that's maybe Yuris for you.
Again, there's research on that, and there's no research in Latvia. There are no data in Latvia on that, but, or at least not processed yet. The thing is like comparing the drivers with sporting background with other drivers. And there have been several research on that in several countries, and no research found that previous racers are somehow safer on roads, but there have been the opposite conclusions, that they take more risks and finally they got more in accidents. So unfortunately, yes, there is tendency different, definitely, and again, proved by research, that within the first years, it's much higher risk, both for the age of drivers and for the experience, but otherwise that skills that are developed by the driver occasionally are counterweighted by the risk-taking. So both things are important, both skills and both the risks we afford. Like you show for seniors, up to some age, they compensate their physical ability with taking lower risks. But unfortunately, when it comes to really more higher age, then it's not that easy to evaluate for the person themselves, and that's where the medical staff has to have to help us.
Yeah, and actually, data is showing that there is more accidents and injuries, and that's also in a category when the driver license is under 2 years, and then it's becoming better. Yeah. So we have a question in the chat about the data availability about e-scooters accidents, and on this, before Yuris maybe answer, I know that, and I heard a lot from the medical personnel on the hospitals, that there is every day there is someone coming like into the intense therapy with from the accidents where the scooters involved, because it's very damaging if there's something happens, and it's very severe if it really happens, because speeds are quite high, like up to 25 kilometers per hour. So did you see any data on this, Yuris, in Latvia maybe?
Not just seen, I've put it on our webpage in CSDD. It's the vulnerable road users in Latvia and mazai sargātie satiksmes dalībnieki. Actually, last week I was in a traffic safety conference in Hague, and the professor from Iceland was talking about, oh, the e-scooters accidents are going high, up. And then he asked, what about 2023? He thought, oh no, it's just stopped there. And actually the same thing is for Latvia. If we look at formal statistics, then it's stabilized. It's not going up anymore that rapid as it was a couple of years in a row. But the truth you told also is that, and it's known well in Europe, there are quite a lot of unreported accidents. And when we speak to medical people, and I've done that with several of our hospitals, they definitely see this as a problem. And research shows that the injuries are comparable more to mopeds, which have higher speeds, than to bicycles, which theoretically ride at more or less the same speeds as e-scooters. So good thing, it's stabilizing. Bad thing, still a lot of unfortunate accidents, and especially for young people.
So and definitely there should be more solutions how to like regulate it, right? Because it's very freely available right now, less regulated. So you could take the scooter and drive and speed, and they control automatically some speed on some areas, but generally it's like less regulated, right? And we see the scooters are driving on the roads, on the walking areas. So yeah, this is definitely one area when we could put our attention.
But again, this year there's one fatality with these scooters, so it's one or maximum two fatalities from 115, 140 we had in recent years. So it's not still a major problem. It's just we feel sorry for those people who make that to their to their health, and occasionally, and sometimes it's definitely for a long time. So just it's not a good means of transportation. Bicycle is much better, and everyone mostly recognizes it. If you have to choose or you give to choose for your children, try to encourage cycling, not e-scootering.
Yeah, makes sense. Another question in chat. The question is actually about the vehicle conditions and education of the driver. So what's more important and what's more influence the safety on the road, that their drivers are more educated or the car conditions are better? So I think the car condition is also one of the issues in Latvia, because we have a quite old car, let's say, park. What you can say about this, Yuris?
Okay, two things. One thing is about education, and there's kind of a tricky thing that people, I'm not a psychologist, maybe some people here are, and normally people want to blame others, not themselves. And a lot of people come to conclusions that the road infrastructure is the only solution because whatever we do with communication or education, it doesn't work. While it's definitely not proved, like last week, I also was discussing this with Swedish traffic psychologists, and they have quite a lot of achieved with education and understanding the traffic psychology. While if it's about the vehicles, yes, the good things are new safety features, and many of them become mandatory on new vehicles, and that will definitely give some results, unless we compensate it by driving too risky. So it's always this compensation mechanism. Cars are getting better, we are driving faster. No, some of us, not all of us, but it's always there is some compensation, like roads are getting seemingly better, people are driving faster, the crashes are more like our P80, the Teenuži road in Latvia, which very well showed this thing that by developing seemingly good road, we actually caused a lot of traffic deaths.
Yeah, good point. There is still discussion in chat about the scooters. So data is available about scooters, right? Some data of it available. So check it out. And yeah, I think it's most I don't know if there is some label that shows is it rented scooter or owned scooter, but maybe it's we can assume that most of the scooters are rented, right? There's slight number of the owned scooters, or at least what we see on the streets. Okay, while we are looking for other questions on the chat, let's go to our next myth, and it's about that there is only one. Usually, for the accident, there is only one cause, or only one person who is guilty for it. So it's very clear and straightforward. So, what do you think, Yuris? Is it true or false?
No, it's not about true or false. It's more about how we think about traffic accidents. And what I've come across a lot, that there's a demand, just give us the reasons why do traffic accidents happen. And most of would like to have a single reason for every accident. Well, the problem is that the more risks we take, finally they summarize and then the accidents happen. That's why they are called accidents, that there is this part of accidentality. Although in most countries, including European Union, it's a tendency not to call them accidents anymore, but road crashes, because if we organize the traffic system in a way that it's quite risky to drive, then there's a willingness not to call these accidents, but there's definitely a lot of factors coming together. Like the ones discussed also today is speed. Speed, in most cases, speed would not be the cause of the accident, but in almost every case, not in every case, that will be influence the consequences of the crashes. So there are different reasons for why do accidents happen, and different reasons why they are so serious and with so heavy consequences, which probably will be discussed in our next meeting.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, maybe the closing this chat question about the scooters data. Do you know, Yuris, if there is a label, if it's or category that it is rented or owned, or so this
In
the scooter
traffic
data?
No, in the traffic, in this straight traffic accident data, it's not labeled like that. There are other ways to look at, like all the speeding, including scooters, are 99% is with private scooters only. So when you are looking which are risking more, then there's tendency with private scooters, while definitely there's a lot of driven by rented scooters. No, in the current statistics, it's not shown. The same about the cars. It will be done in some future, not now. The question similar is data visualization on CSD web. Definitely, I do know where it gone. You have a look at visualizations we have on the Latvian version of a website, and some of it. So currently we are working together with Latvian police to improve the traffic statistics, and in most cases the visualization will be in a way like they are shown currently. At least that's the goal, or that's the current idea. Like if I share the screen for a moment, like this is about, it's not a good format for currently because it's vertical, like the age and the traffic accidents. And then you just select the accidents with fatalities or having any injuries or fatalities, looking how it's distributed along the age. And we can see that 90 plus, there are not that many accidents or not that many fatalities. If we are looking at fatalities only, we can check it as well, and well, we can see that there's a little bit different distribution. That's the way that we currently use the visualization. The visualization will come back. Maybe some contribution of that we closed that graph was that there was some problems with it as well, technical problems, although I know what you are asking about.
Yeah, thank you. So one of the also related to the question, and also I'm also very interested in this, that there is this speed limits 30 and 20 kilometers per hour in some living areas, and actually when we see that actually cars are speeding there, it is a higher speed, and it's very like irritated by people who are living in this area. They are blocking, they are trying to build any kind of signs, and sometimes illegal and artificial barriers for that. But is it really dangerous? That do we see in data that the speeding in living areas, when the drivers actually increase this, like driving in a higher speed than allowed, that it makes more dangerous these areas?
Mhm.
Do we see the proof in data?
Yes, sure. Actually, again, speaking about does speed affect consequences of road crash, or the occurrence of road crash, is something like discussed with uh, uh, scientists whether the Newton's law or the Ohm's law are right, and are they right in living conditions in Latvia. And actually, there has been a court case in Latvia where it was discussed whether the Newton's law has been verified in Latvia, and to prove that someone expertise is wrong. So people doubt about that, but actually the connection and it can be explained quite a lot. While definitely everyone knows that the speed is not the only problem, so we can't put everything to speed only. And Carlis Kreķis here also mentioned the Stockholm Declaration. And what I like about this comment is not that traffic safety doesn't depend on politicians only. It depends on every one of us. Yes, it's good if politicians, but what do politicians do? They mostly want to get re-elected, and then they listen what the rest of us want to see and how they will be re-elected. So definitely, it's not just the politicians; it's our attitude, our willingness, and how we can influence the decision makers.
Yeah, that's true. That's of course the driving culture is very important on how we follow the rules if we have these regulations on place. So I waited for the question we have already in chat, and the question is about this speed cameras. So how good this money invested in speed cameras is. So is it good money invested in speed cameras? What do you think, Rios?
Old question. Most of Latvians know that roads are better in Lithuania. Everyone knows. And some years ago, the number of fatalities per inhabitants, Lithuania saved us, and they were worse than we were. So they had more fatalities than we have. Currently, they are close to European average, and they're achieved by various measures, including these average speed cameras, a lot of cameras. So there's a lot of proof that speed helps. If we can reduce it in other ways besides the speed cameras, yes, sure, but somehow speed cameras also help to this. So it's definitely yes. But when it comes to smart traffic lights, it depends what you call smart traffic lights. Better you somehow write it more precise, because smart is always smart, so it has to be good. If it's only called smart and it doesn't improve anything, that it's not smart. It's just kind of a selling point of whatever the device is.
Yeah, so I think the smart, probably that for me, smart traffic lights are those who are adjusting to the traffic intensity. So they are maybe changing the period they are switching the lights. So
there are perfect solutions, like I recall cycling in Sweden. When there's no traffic, you approach the crossing with full speed, and it turns on the green for cyclists. So it's perfect when it works well. The smarter lights, again, so when it makes the so-called green waves, again, it helps, because the more steady is the traffic flow, the better. Although when there are bad traffic lights in terms of we have to stop all the time, then it's definitely bad. It's good for fatalities, because if we don't drive, then there are no fatalities. But again, this not very sustainable and not good for whatever we want to for environment. So smart have to be smart, then they are good. If they are just small, called smart, not always. And definitely, as everything, they have to be made in a way that people understand them. They don't make surprises. Or I know one of these junctions where people drive on red because they don't understand what these smart cameras do. I know a case like that as well, so probably there are some mistakes in other junctions or other installations as well. So I don't know about Sigulda, but people make mistakes, not only the drivers, but including the engineers. Unfortunately, yes, but that's what we do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have a quick comment from my side or question from these myths. There was a myth, or maybe truth, a while ago about bikes, which is a very, of course, a loaded topic. That by using a vehicle, a driver on a bicycle starts to drive more aggressively, and also the cars drive closer to them, and thus kind of increase the chance that an accident would happen. How much ground it has, and is it something that is still how people think, and is there some grounds of truth behind it?
Using what?
When you drive a bicycle, if you use a helmet,
A
you would
helmet.
automatically start driving more dangerously because you think you're safe, and also cars drive closer to you because they think you look very. If something happens, you will survive. So the accidents are there are more accidents happening, but survivability increases.
It's just discussed a lot. There are definitely various opinions, and I just again, I told I returned last week from Netherlands and from Hague, and helmets are not popular there. And I've heard also the scientists, when we encourage using helmets, they will start driving less. But again, the statistics show quite a lot of accidents with cyclists, and they definitely drive quite dangerously there. They don't see it, but what they are doing is very high risk taking. So they somehow, like, as we Latvians or here people in Latvia, like speeding with cars, we have the consequences, they have consequences with helmets. What is always a good solution in between, encourage everyone to wear a helmet. Maybe you know that the day you are cycling, there's absolutely no any danger, like you can't speed up more. There are a lot of pedestrians around you, there's bad road, you can't speed up. Probably it's for some day it's okay to drive without a helmet. In general, if you are driving faster, helmets are useful. Like again, and cycling is not that safe. Last year, we have also one traffic fatality with crash of two bicycles. Not a crash against car, bicycle against car, but cyclist against cyclist. So helmet helps if we care about our head.
Yeah, so what we hear overall, I think all the participants during this session, that this topic is very well like researched and developed. There is available a lot of different kind of data, and you always could find a expert, like ground expert, like Yuris, who literally can answer any question. So you drop any questions to him, and he has an answer. So you see that it's area when you could, if you want to dig in some problem and some myth, you could easily find data or some research paper on this, and get actually the facts behind these things.
Aldi, talking about data, can I add something? Actually,
Sure.
we had, yes, we had, because I'm representing data. We had question from Michael. Seems he got a little upset. You never put attention on him, but pay attention on him. But yes, he asked about raw data. And most of the researchers, they usually are interested in raw data. And this is what we are working on to offer for public research And for wide public is more published in open data, of course. We are working on data sets what we can prepare. But if there are specific requests, always in statistical office you can come and you can agree with us what kind of data you can get. What about Juris, about your institution? Are there is possibility to just to come to you and to agree that it's possible to get some data what are not already aggregated somehow?
Okay, we are definitely working on having better data. Again, showing the screen. One thing is that we have these Excel-based slices and graphs, but every this type of file has also raw data, and it's structured in a way that's easy to be used anywhere else or exported. We'll definitely put more on open source data at the moment, but like road accident data, unfortunately, have to be improved before published. And we are working with, like we had yesterday, a meeting with police, and there's things to be done before we show more data, because when the data are misleading, it's even worse than there's not sufficient data. But again, a lot of data go through the CSP as well. So.
And maybe a related question is about how the data users using your data, for instance, to plan some new traffic roads or I don't know, even buildings. I mean, special planners or policy planners, or this is not your competence, or you can comment on that.
Occasionally they ask for data directly me for some specific road development. But again, we have a road audit department, and since they have the data available for them as well, I don't currently know how much they do forward data to specific projects. They definitely use data by themselves. But again, actually, I showed a couple of these maps, and there are quite a lot of active people around who care about their environment. And then these either the insurance company map or the Ministry of Interior map goes very good understanding of what happens in which areas. So for those not global projects, those maps, I guess, are the best tools, although one has to understand that they also have mistakes. Like I didn't stop on that. The graph I showed to you, there was a mistake, like the fatality of the motorcyclist on the Vanchu Bridge was shown somewhere some 50 meters down there in the port territory. So occasionally these GPS locations are not recorded properly.
Yeah, and maybe on this a little bit in Latvian University, for some researchers, we are using tracking apps, so you could like not maybe rely so much on the different data which is publicly or less publicly available, because it's like not always maybe you could find real like route data or something. If you want to like for everything. Yeah, there's not so much data available. So if you want to research some particular problem, for example, how the people are driving by some transport mode somewhere during the day, etc. So it's possible there are freely available tracking apps that you install on your mobile phone, and you collect the number of users who are ready to track their routes and then provide the data for you. That is one of the ways how the researchers actually collecting the actual data using some focus groups of the users and tracking data, where are they going, on what territories, and maybe some specific routes. So also think about the possibilities that you could collect your own data, especially if
Yes,
you are
and
looking for data in some very small your domestic regions, right, or areas.
yes, and talking about specifically about hackathon, Central Statistic Bureau, together with Road Traffic Safety Directorate, we will prepare data packages, special data packages, and this will be not only about accidents, but about the causes, like we think what they can use, for instance, I don't know, social, economical, some aspects, or climatic, even weather conditions, and changes, climate changes, and that's will be way how we will encourage participants of hackathon to think a little bit wider. Matis wants to add something. Yes, go for it.
Yes, it's very good you brought it up, because we were just discussing with one of Raimond's that it would also be great to offer participants when they join an option. And I think in the next academic breakfast we will outline this option to request specific data sets, and then we coordinate with the statistical bureau and Juris, and see what we can help there. So basically, teams that want to target a specific challenge during the hackathon could maybe have a data set prepared for them too, that is maybe selected differently.
Yes, one of the benefits of this event, we figure out that what directions we need to work on, not only about hackathon, but about the researchers' needs, and what kind of information people are interested. Institutions like Ministry of Economy, we saw the interest, and other participants of this event. I think that more or less we cover quite exciting myths today, and gave some initial ideas to proceed in next time. Next time we will meet in 4th of November, the same time, the same place, and we will talk more about why do heavy road accidents occur. And we will have participants who will give some insight from Transport and Telecommunication Institute. There will be interesting presentation, analysis of transport system in the digital age. We will have my colleagues who will give some new information about this, I don't know the name, cargo buses, what are Barbora and DPD, how they influencing the traffic nowadays. And there will be more participants. I really hope that your colleague, Oskars, could participate, because he has very, very serious position in your institution. He is the one who's going directly when accident happening, and he could give really good insight why heavy road accidents happening. And yes, and once again, big thanks to Riga Technical University Road Traffic Safety Directorate, University of Latvia, and Creative Tuesdays to help to organize academical breakfast this year. Thank you a lot. And I will give a floor to Matis for final closure, because he started, he has to finish.
Yeah, it's a very good bookend to the event. So basically, the most important thing you have to remember is to register, because the deadline is closing on. We are closing registrations at 7th of November at midnight. And what else? If you can't wait till the next breakfast and you absolutely want to join an event, then Halloween is coming up, and we have a very specific type of event with RTU, where we also look at data from traffic a little bit, but in a more non-formal environment. It's called Innovation Horror Stories, and it happens at 31st of October at 6 o'clock at RTU Skylab. So if you Google for Innovation Horror Stories, it should come up. It's a traditional event that happens every Halloween, and we talk with startups and researchers about some horrific scenarios which had happened in their professional life when they worked with data or tried to build a product and they didn't go as expected. And after that, so yes, definitely remember the registration button. It's there, it's active, and let us know if you need any specific data. We will start looking for that. And the most important point, thanks to all the speakers and all of you who made this amazing breakfast so lively. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, and see you next time.
Bye.